Hello everyone, this is Monique Lynelle and this is Monique Lynelle's Living with a Purpose blog. And today I'm going to talk about hope in your plans. So actually I would like to read you a story and I'll tell you some details about the story after I read it. But today is a special day, but I'll tell you more about it after I read the story. So if I could just have a few moments of your attention, I'm just going to read my story. Today I want to take you on a journey, a story of a life with potential, joy, happiness, and purpose. There was a little girl that grew up with her mother and father, healthy and happy. This little girl was athletic, strong, and was very talented in the arts. She danced, sang, acted, and played lots of sports like soccer, basketball, and ran track. She was a beautiful redhead, light-skinned African-American girl growing up and becoming a nice young lady. As she grew up, she always would say that she was going to accomplish a lot and be a household name for her work in the entertainment field. She was a bright young lady, smart as a whip, and extremely determined to do her best at everything. When she turned 18, she pushed her friend out of the way of a car before it hit her. Her friend thanked her and she replied, "You would have done the same for me." As she got older, she graduated from college with honors and was an All-American in one of the sports she played. She decided to help feed the homeless and joined groups that helped others in the community. Her heart was like gold and she was a genuine person. She started to speak at events for young women and became a motivational speaker for women's groups and youth organizations. She was a real go-getter. After getting her degree, she went on to medical school and became a doctor, a physical therapist to be exact. Her life was just getting started. As time went on, the young lady married a man that had been friends with her in medical school. And they went on to have a few children, and she continued to be active in her community and was well known and respected for her work with her church and other community service organizations. There were so many people that called her for advice. So many athletes got their careers back on track because of her expertise, and she was a joy to be around. Her life and accomplishments did not happen overnight, and everything was not easy for her. As she lost a few close relatives, got depressed, and hit a very low point in her life, she was resilient because of her belief in God and the support of her parents and friends. However, she wanted to travel. So she traveled abroad during college and made sure she took lots of pictures because her mom always said that the experiences that her mom always said that the experience is about the memories you hold on to and the journey you encounter. As time went on, she battled with her relationship with God and how her moving around as a teen affected her relationships. But she was strong, just not committed to God like she should have been at one point. But the friend that she ended up marrying helped her realize that she was an awesome person, but God was the it factor that was missing, and he could make her life whole again. He explained that God could put back together those broken pieces if she just would have faith in him. Those two became closer through their belief in God and prayers for each other. The couple experienced miscarriages, but prayed and had faith that God would bring them children. And as time went on, they had 5 children and counting. God was restoring time back to them, and that man loved her with all his heart. The young lady became a better person by being with him, and they were dedicated to each other and the process of marriage. After medical school, the young lady was commissioned as an Army officer. She was a part of ROTC for years while in college, and then served on active duty for a few years after college. Since she was a doctor, she stayed stateside and helped wounded warriors that came back from war. Her and her soon-to-be husband were still just courting at that time, but she helped so many soldiers learn how to walk again, how to utilize their prosthetic legs and arms, even learn how to eat again. It was a hard job, yet rewarding. People loved and appreciated her. People loved and appreciated her spirit and always wanted her around. But she was always on the go, go, go and could not get close to everyone. You might be thinking, this story sounds almost too good to be true. And in fact, it is. Because my daughter only lived a day. And she has no more life to live. I took bits and pieces from my own life, added some greatness, and took out some strife. I gave her the good parts of life that I never saw, because only a day my daughter saw. It's hard to say whose life she would have changed. It's hard to know the person she could have become. There's no way to know how her voice could have sung. For those few short hours while she lived, she came way too early. But what I would give to see her grow up and have her life to live. I wish I could see all that she had to give. But there is no way to rewind this story. She died as a baby because she was born prematurely. I can't help but to daydream while writing this essay about how things could be and stories she could have had, the talents, the gifts, the strengths, and her children, the love of her life, and the challenges too. But instead, I am left with a what if. What if my daughter, Miracle Lynea, had lived? Who would she be? How would she laugh? What would she see? Who would her friends be? What would be her favorite color? All I know is that I would still love her. In life, there are ups and downs, days too. But we have a chance and a choice to live it the way we do. But this little miracle went back to God. However, she still has touched my life. Living for 3 hours is true, but she touched my life forever and will forever be remembered. What if my daughter could have been a doctor, a lawyer, the President of the United States of America? What if? What if? What if she lived? So, I tried to stay calm throughout reading the story, but that's the end. And April 14th is my daughter's birthday, and she would have been 16 years old this year. And I just wanted to say that she will always be remembered. I put gone but not forgotten on her tombstone years ago, because that's how I feel in reference to her. I know there's a lot of people that have dealt with miscarriages and early term birth and even stillbirth. And at this juncture in my life, I still have hope in God. And there's been a lot of years that I wondered, why did this happen to me? Well, the whys have turned into, my pain has turned into my purpose. Now I found a support group that I'm going to be facilitating for soon, and I'll put more information out about that. But to help other women get through their miscarriages. I've actually experienced a miscarriage at 8 weeks, one at 4 weeks, and then I had an ectopic pregnancy, and then I really thought it was going to happen when I went all the way to 5.5 months with my daughter. But then she passed, and then I lost twins at nine weeks back in 2022. So the thing is that when you have plans, you're not sure how things are going to go, but you can plan for all kinds of things in your life. You can plan to have a certain career. You can plan to have a certain job. You can plan to have a certain amount of kids. You can plan to have a certain size house, a certain kind of car, a certain kind of this and that. And sometimes things go different, but having hope is something that you can't put a number on. You can't put it's not a weight or a measure, or how much hope do you have. It's like something that you can't necessarily see, but you hope that I say the word hope, but you put your trust in the fact that something could happen in your future, or the plans that you make, you want them to come through. You want things to be tangible. And I'm glad to be able to say that, I'm still here, and God has blessed me, and He has kept me, and I've been, I've gone on the roller coaster, right? I've had the ups and I've had the downs, but I definitely feel like I'm an overcomer, and I've been resilient in lots of ways. And yes, I have to deal with and manage my stress around loss, because it's real during the times of different anniversaries and different holidays. Sometimes they get hard, but I just want to encourage you that you can still have hope, because where there's life, there's hope. And while you're still here, even though you might have experienced loss, it doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. He still loves you, and different things can be restored in your life. There's so many people who have had hardships, and God is able to restore things in their life. And it doesn't mean that that's the end of your story. But instead of me feeling like it's the end for me, I want to give back to other people and help them heal through their losses, and help them to understand that things do happen to good and bad people, and you could be a great person and something happens to you, but it doesn't mean that God has turned His back on you, and it doesn't mean that you can't have hope for your future and that you can't plan for other things. It just means that you're in a time of loss, and there's a grief process. However, in comma, having hope is something that I have. I have hope in heaven. I have hope that, certain things will still happen in my life. I look forward to. And I just want you all to be encouraged that when you have your little kids, and you have your spouse, and you have your friends, and you have family that care about you, then lean into that, because sometimes we take for granted the people that are in front of us, and they're the ones that care about us. And everybody doesn't have that. You know, a lot of us have lost a lot. I lost both my parents. I lost my daughter. I've had miscarriages. I have had a divorce. And I still have hope that I'll have a great man and a great husband, man, and, you know, great relationships. And I just have hope that when I'm in heaven with the Lord, that things will just be made all things made new. So I just want you to have hope and in your plans, you know, and hopefully that you would give them over to God and allow him to order your steps. So have a blessed week, have a blessed day. This is Monique Lynelle, 10-4, over and out.